Hello to all. Welcome to the 10th and last episode of Beneath the Surface, Tabletop Tempest, first actual play in the TTRPG space. We have mixed feelings right now, both happy and sad, but we are glad to be bringing this story to a good close. I am Kris, pronouns they, she, and I have been your game master for this amazing mini-series. My cast, both on and off screen here, are either immigrants or a child of one at least, and together we've been bringing you a story inspired by Brazilian folklore that explores the nuances of living abroad when your ancestry is located in a place in another country. But my now four, because if you saw the last episode, we're missing a fifth, but I will have my four lovely players introduce themselves and who they are playing.
Wow! Last time. Hi everyone, I'm Clare. My pronouns are she, her, and I'll be playing Carmen Pereira for the last time, using the Star Playbook.
Oh, it's me. Hey y'all, my name is Danny, my pronouns are he, him, and I will be playing Myto, Bui, they, any pronouns, and they are the brains of the operation.
Hello everyone, I'm Valiant Dorian, I use he, him, his pronouns, and tonight I have the distinct pleasure of playing, for the last time, Gabriel Zhao, who uses he, they pronouns and is using the Scion playbook. And I'm passing it on over to my sibling of the hour.
Hi, it's me, the sibling of the hour. My name is Jay or Nala. My pronouns are they, them. And tonight, as we've all said for the last time, I'm playing Tamsyn Zhao, who uses she, they pronouns. Pour one out for Victor, who's not with us anymore.
Orúno, who's not here with us anymore. Victor is still alive and well.
Victor is
Very true. Very
Very much
true.
fine and well
Sorry.
and healthy and safe.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I love that.
Victor is
Okay, that made me
amazing.
laugh.
Victor
Everyone
is
was
like on a plane or something.
all of this was making me sad. We're not even in the sad parts yet. But as always, content warnings for this game: familial and generational trauma, loss and grief, rage, and lineage of stories. A final last thank you to both our partners and our sponsors. As you've heard the last couple of weeks, we are using the Masks TTRPG system, and because of that, a huge final thank you to Magpie Games for partnering with us and providing us some copies, which the last of which we gave away this past week, so whoever got it, congratulations. And then also a huge thank you to our dice sponsor for the entire show, Whitney from Smoking Glue Guns. As you can see on the screen, gosh, they look so cool. Some of our players have already received theirs. The rest will be receiving them soon. But we were able to give one of those sets away, and so a huge congrats to the lucky person. You now own one of like 6 or 7 sets. That's it. So yeah. Ugh. So for the last time, are my players ready to dive in?
No. Now we have to wait.
Cool. Well,
We
thanks
hold
all
you
for
here.
coming.
We will keep you here.
We'll see you next week when we also have another 4-minute episode.
For folks at home watching, we've already procrastinated like an hour, just like not
Yeah.
starting, just doing nonsense. So
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Sweet.
So, we ended last week with a solemn goodbye as we saw the two hands of Orúno and William on Orúno's shoulders, waving to you all as you, rope in hand, Irasima as a pink dolphin, this time which we hadn't seen before, taking the rope and leading you away, and just the tiniest bit of fur coming off of Stitch's hands as he's sitting on top of William's head. As you, this trip, feeling like it's taken longer and shorter all at the same time. Longer because there's so much more to take in from what has happened. Still so many answers that have been placed in front of you, but yet those answers have caused the production of even more questions. And you all have broken the surface of the water, inhaling fresh air for the first time, and something inside you all feels different, but Irasima swims and takes you till you feel each of your feet touch sand beneath you. As we see Irasima, as the water gets shallower, transform back into themselves. And they, almost in this quiet parade, lead you a couple feet towards the edge of the water before each of you have let go of the rope and the color dissipates and they begin to kind of fold it around their hand. And there's a look on Irasima's face, similarly to earlier, that you hadn't seen from Irasima before. And there is this recognition from them of the elephant in the room. And unlike the past faces we've seen from Irasima, which was very to the T, very this is business, everything's black and white, there's a sense of quiet and sadness to them as they begin to roll it up with no words spoken, and then breaking the silence, looking up at you, Myto. I think you would like to know. Your grandparents are here. Ariel wasn't feeling so well, so they've come to help her. If you want to go see her.
Yes, please. And you see Myto kind of take a moment and like glance around at the cousins and locks eyes with Gabriel. Hey Gabriel, do you mind if
You don't even have to ask.
thank
I'll come
you.
with you.
And you almost see Myto like fall into Gabriel, almost not necessarily through exhaustion, but almost as a safe place to collect their minds as they realize that both their grandparents and Ariel are in the same place. And internally, with just leaving stitches behind, there's nothing to hold. So if they can, they grab Gabriel's hand and kind of like hold it towards their chest. And Gabriel can probably physically feel the racing of Myto's heart.
And I think that racing indicates the gravity of all of this. If he hadn't already surmised it moments before. And I think as he like maintains that distance with you and keeps you company, he looks over towards Carmen and Tom Tom, and I think he just says, "Tom Tom, you be all right? I'll be a little while." Yeah,
And she just nods quietly.
I love you.
I love you too.
And he'll look over to Carmen, with a little smile and say, "Don't wreck too much shit without me."
Fine. We'll get up to the only like good trouble.
Okay, I can deal with that.
Oh, and just so y'all know, we're coming back. This isn't goodbye.
No.
Okay.
It better not be.
Yeah. We already lost one too many. Too soon.
Yeah.
Irasima looks at the two of you, seeing that you guys are going together, and they're in the house next to the one that you had first come to. You remember the way?
I do. I do remember. Whenever you're ready, Myto. Alright? We can take this at your pace.
And you see Myto nod their head, and they still just kind of wait there, right on the shore. Yeah. Are we gonna go? Oh, my pace.
And I think what Gabriel will do, because I think he senses you need a little courage. So I think he takes the first step. But with the first 5 steps, with each heartbeat as we're taking the step, he's looking to you. And kind of similar to helping a kid ride a bike. He's waiting for the moment to let you set the pace, but he takes the first few steps for us. So you
And
have
in
that
those
courage.
in those first few steps, you feel the grip in her hand just kind of squeeze a little bit tighter. And as we make it towards the second house, the grip kind of lightens, and they still keep a close proximity, and lets go of your hand and keeps pace with you as we make it to the door. And then Myto, as if they aren't one of the smartest people maybe in this plane, looks at you as if a door handle is the toughest puzzle of what's going on.
Gabriel knocks.
And
Waiting for a reply. Yep.
yep. And you guys hear nothing from the other side. And it's that uncomfortableness of like you don't really know what's on the other side of the other house, and so you wait. You know, how long are you guys willing to wait? I'll say 30 seconds passes and you don't hear anything.
I think Gabriel will look over to Myto and say, "It's at your own pace. They might be busy, which means maybe it'll be harder, this conversation, this meeting, than we first thought. So take a deep breath. Whenever you're ready, we'll walk through that door."
We can keep waiting because I know Grandpa Eo has a bad hip, and if they made the trek all the way down here, he just might be taking a little bit to get to the door. So we could maybe wait another few more seconds just in case. We don't want to surprise him. He's startled easy too.
You
Another
say
few
that,
seconds.
and just almost a moment later, you can hear faint sounds of shuffling from inside before the shuffles get louder and louder and louder until it sounds almost like someone's struggling with the lock as there's some fumbling, like until finally cracks open and you see Grandpa Eo's eye just stick out, like more just one eye kind of looking through, confused, and then a nanosecond later wide before this old man, as you've mentioned, bad hip, not a lot of strength left, but with some gusto that you haven't seen before. He swings the door open and gives you the biggest hug, Myto, as he holds the back of your head into his chest.
And in that moment, it's almost that same way that Myto fell into Gabriel, and Myto falls into his grandpa and takes the longest, deepest breath, like just to make sure that, like, okay, this is part of the real life that we just left behind. And after holding on maybe a little bit longer, kind of like releases the hug. It's like, oh, is Grandma here?
And Grandpa Eo has always been like more on the quieter side, as we saw in episode 1, how feisty Grandma Luna can get sometimes, and he just nods with this soft smile. And yes, she's here, and she'll be very excited to see you.
And you see Myto kind of like leave, but as they're like trying to look around for Grandma Luna, it's like, oh, and that's Gabriel. I don't know. And then you just hear their voice trickle off.
And
Gabriel smiles and says, "Hi, Grandpa. How are you doing?"
hey, hello, Gabriel. It's lovely to see you. I haven't seen you. And he just gets a little close to you. He's like, I haven't seen you since you were...
You know, I was so small then. Yeah, it's been a long time. You look well.
Well, and he just, with this grandpa gusto, oh, they don't make these hips like they used to, and just starts cracking these jokes as left hand is like if you were to look off to the sides, is clinging, and you can tell he's pulling himself up these stairs that you begin to traverse while he's making jokes about his hip. And you guys get to the top of the stairs before you see a sandal begin to throw towards you. And Myto, I need you to roll 2d6. A 7
Oh
up
no, Myto!
means you dodge. Actually, this would have happened before. So a 6 and above, you will dodge it.
I rolled a 5.
And you turn the corner, and it wasn't super low, but you turn the corner and you see it before it hits you, and there's almost this slow motion. Oh, not again, not after these past couple days, as it, not at the speed of lightning, but it was a more love tap from the chancla. You feel it bop your shoulder before I was gonna say Gabriel kind of like sees it, barely missing your shoulder, and you just hear from down the hall, "Is that who I think it is?"
It's me. Yeah, hey, Grandma.
"Oh, my boy, come here, please, come here. And you see her just waddling in this, like, long nightgown, like, waddling with now one sandal on, barefoot on the other, going up and giving you these big open arms. "Come here, give me a hug before I die. Come here. Hurry, I can't walk this much anymore, please."
And you see Myto just like just with a boost of energy that we haven't seen in a little bit, just like run up to his grandma, and already is like trying to shield his cheeks, and it's like, "Grandma, we're back. I'm so happy to see you. But there's a lot to talk about. I did get Grandpa a gift, so please don't throw your other sandal at me.
Gabriel's walking behind you holding Grandma's sandal. Because I think it fell like right in front of him, and then he
Yep.
like lowers down. It's like, "Here you go, Grandma."
"Oh, my other favorite grandson, please come here. Just now, like, and like had both arms around Myto is now bringing you in. Both of your
Thank
faces,
Grandma.
like, very close together, with like surprisingly grandmother strength. Very strong as you kind of feel your cheeks start to press. Big hug.
It's good to see you.
"Oh, yes, actually," and she pushes you both back and wags a finger to you, Myto. "Yes, we do have a lot to talk about. I heard you were asking people for identification. Your own family asking for identification. We can talk
Gabriel
about this at home."
Gabriel raises his arms and just says, "Wasn't me."
Well, it's just a safety protocol because I like to just. I don't know who is who. So how do I identify? I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I can't eat their food first and compare it to your food and know that, if it's good food, they're family. That doesn't make sense. That takes too long.
And almost in this tired gesture, yes, okay, that makes sense. Maybe I'm just, ooh, I'm hungry. And she kind of reaches into her pocket and pulls out one of those, if you've ever seen them, those little strawberry suckers that the wrapper is strawberry, as she undoes one of them and just roll one of them in her mouth. "Come here, please, we can sit down, but please don't raise your voices too loud. We must be," and especially the one who had just been so loud. Hypocritically, she's looking at you guys. "We must be very quiet. Your grandfather has been so loud recently, waking everyone up." As you just see off the side, Grandpa, just another day in the life. Loves his wife so much. As she kind of brings you guys over to a bench. "Oh, please sit, please sit."
I sit. And I think Gabriel does look about the space to see because we were told that Ariel's recovering, so I think he's looking for hints or evidence of Ariel being in these rooms and a general feel for the vibe of the house regarding her condition.
Mhm.
Just from the energy.
Yeah. You're looking around, and I would say, when she mentioned, like, oh, we got to keep it down, she did look off the corner of her eye to one of the doors down the hall.
Okay.
But that was it.
Myto takes a second. Probably eyes have not left Luna yet, and they probably take a second to just like see, like, is there anything different about her demeanor, about how she's acting right now? If there's any sort of hesitation of like why, like, he doesn't want to be rude and be like, why are you even down here?
Yeah.
But
there is an apprehension, where somebody has pulled back the rubber band against your arm, and they're about to like let it go, and it seems like she acknowledges the elephant in the room, but she's just, business as usual. Everything's totally normal. It's fine. I don't know how much she knows. Ooh.
And I think for a split second, you see Myto again kind of look towards Gabriel in a sense of like, can you lead this moment, because I don't even know how to act around my own grandma right now. And their eyes are just darting about the room and like looking at the door between Luna and Gabriel, and then in a split second they kind of drop down and they look at the ground towards their feet again in a familiar sense, like they were in the cave, and their eyes are towards the ground.
Gabriel senses your hesitance. He may be new to all of this experience as part of the family. He is not new to being a big brother. And as he kind of like notices your nervousness, he looks to Grandma Luna and says, Grandma, I don't know how much you've heard about everything that's happened with us. A lot of the stuff that happened in the past has come up, and well, Myto knows everything, and
you see Myto take a breath, and not the everything that, like, yeah, I know everything about a lot of things, but family stuff. It's the family stuff that Gabriel's talking about.
And you just see her look at Grandpa EO, and he gives, similarly to what Gabriel has been doing for you, Myto gives like a reassuring nod and a tender little touch on the arm, a little squeeze. She takes a deep breath, looks at you. Yes, we knew you would find out eventually. Your grandfather and I actually thought that the trip would have been a good reunion. We didn't. And you see her pause. Once again, similarly to how you saw before she brings back the why she was about to start with the letter, and instead, Ariel told us what had happened. Ariel was linked to Naren, and as he grew more sick, so did she. Because of decisions they had made the last reunion. So she's doing better now, but better is a choice of word when you have lost person that you had imagined everything with. So your grandfather and I are sorry, Myto. Ariel made us promise that we would only tell you things if you asked and if you wanted to know.
First of all, there's nothing that you need to apologize for. Secondly, it's not that I didn't know, but we had everything growing up on the farm. It wasn't a matter of me not knowing that you're not my mom. Regardless of who you were, you took care of me, and you take care of Grandpa, and in turn, I've used my brain to take care of the farm and the community. So there was really no reason for me to. And again, you see Myto's kind of spirit just drop. There was the cave. I think you know how when I brought the centipedes home for my lab, and I kept that secret for a little bit, but then I couldn't because the centipedes accidentally bred too much and they crawled everywhere, and then you had me contain them, and then we talked about just like communicating things just in case things go wrong. You taught me this when I was 3, when I was trying to fix the irrigation system, and we did it together, and I guess ever since then I never thought that we would keep secrets. And again, I know you weren't keeping it from me on purpose, but our family, in the grand scheme of what family can or should or may be, I think, and you see Myto kind of turn to Gabriel. I think our family keeps a lot of secrets, and I don't know if I should care more about the secrets or less about the secrets. But usually, if people don't want to tell me things, I don't press further. I'll figure it out myself for sure. But, and you see Myto kind of drift off again in a.
I think what Myto's trying to say here, Grandma, is secrets, little things aren't not necessarily that big of a deal or unexpected in a family as big as ours. But this feels huge, massive, and it feels like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here, Myto, but in my own assessment, in my own relation to everything, it really feels like it didn't have to be this way. You know? And it feels that whatever Myto, myself, Tamsyn, Carmen, and Victor did, it feels like it didn't have to be that way. And it feels like whatever we did, we were too late. It was too little, too late.
It didn't have to be this way. But it doesn't have to be that way moving forwards. And she kind of once again turns to Grandpa EO and now squeezes him on the shoulder before looking back. We helped write the beginning of your story, Myto. And now you both can write the rest of yours. We had wanted to have a different family gathering to explain things that were going on, to give you more of an understanding of the decisions. You can feel that now the venom she took out of her words as best as she could while saying it. When she said choices. The choices that some of our children had maids. That was their decision to write as part of their story, even if we didn't agree with them. But Ariel knew that the only people who could set things straight be you all. Even if... Actually, no, we believed you the whole time. And once again, kind of masking her uncomfortableness with everything, she tries to make a joke like, yeah, I trusted you guys the whole time. Yes, I am. But... the family needs truth.
Yeah, I don't think it's not fair for everybody to deal with the ripples that happened years ago. It doesn't make sense. If what you say is true and family is at the core of this, what is family at the end of the day if we have to sacrifice ourselves to uphold something we don't even understand? How do I put this? When you study science, there is a control for a reason. You can compare to this control, and if you don't know what you're comparing to, there is no control. When things are held in the dark or shamed, I never tell anybody how to live, and you've never told me how to live. But I've seen how siblings can care for each other, and you see Myto kind of glance over at Gabriel again and reach for his hand. And I've seen how people my age can speak up, and you see kind of a smile of Myto thinking about how messy Carmen can be. And I've seen people, I've seen family that I don't even know sacrifice their own lives to make sure this doesn't ever happen again. And Myto takes a really, like, there's something stuck in their throat, and they swallow thinking about Orúno. I guess what I'm saying is, I know I call people experiments, and how we go through life is just an experiment, and then at the end of the day we can see the data and set ourselves up to not fall into the same mistakes again. However, I don't think I'm learning that maybe family doesn't work like a science.
No, it doesn't.
Well, that won't stop me from trying, but it's weird for me to not understand outcomes, especially when I plan so much.
And to plan outcomes, and to plan what can come next, we should know everything of what came before. All of the decisions, all of the... I know you've probably rehashed it again and again in your own head, Grandma, but if you could let us in, just let us know how everything came to be, and maybe we'll be far more better equipped to face what comes next for all of us, so this doesn't happen again.
If you want to get some tips on how to take on the family, your cousins have far more in number than the person who tried to first do it alone. And we see her look off to the side, once again looking at that room before the camera fades out from this house for a moment. And we come back on to the beach, where now stands Irasima, Carmen, and Tamsyn. And as you see Gabriel and Myto walking back up to where they know Grandpa Io and Grandma Luna to be, you see Irasima finish rolling up the rope in their hand and then put in their pocket. Well, I rest my... And she, like they kind of look at their body. You know, they were just a dolphin a moment ago, and they're trying to, what? I guess my legs. And they kind of pat their legs. I rest my legs. Some of the family who might be able to share some things, or talk to you. As there's like a pointed look towards you, Carmen, and not in an attacking way or an aggressive way that Irasima's kind of been before, but more in an acknowledgement of, I know you have a lot to say. As they start to turn on their heel and walk back up to that same open air tent that we saw back in episode 2 where you first received those powers.
Oh, wait. So if we want to talk to family, we follow you?
No,
Where should we go?
If you want to talk to some people, there's... And they kind of point up to the tent, and you see a couple figures like sitting in there that from a distance you swear you recognize from what seems to be only like 2 days to you guys. You see Kurumen, your great-great-grandfather, who's married to basically the matriarch of the family, Taina. And you see Hauni, which was your aunt, younger, white passing with very bright eyes and short dreads for hair.
I think Carmen looks at Tam. I think she still can't help but feel like just like some distrust about all this. Like, is there some kind of game in this? And it's like, what do you think? Do we go?
I think Tom looks a little lost. It's not that she doesn't want to go talk to these people. I think in this moment, she just needs a moment.
Yeah. I think we can just chill here for a bit. You know, they've been there for a minute. They can wait a little longer.
We'll go say hi. Don't worry.
Yeah, take your time. No. Hey, we can chill. It's a beach. It's nice. And she like sits down and like, we're chilling. If you want to chill, we're chilling.
How's the weather, Kris? What's the weather like?
It's nice tropical. If you've ever been close to the equator, there's humidity. And so the air is warm, but you can see the sun off to the distance. It's near sunset time. So there's a bit of a cooler breeze kind of kicking the humidity a bit to the side, especially being at the water's edge. You kind of smell this salt in the air. It's warm, but you have a cool breeze hitting you as well.
I have a beach background. 1 sec. Okay.
Beach. She said, let's go to the beach.
Yeah, okay, so Tom will sit down on the beach as well.
So I think Carmen is just, kind of digging her toes into the sand, kind of looking at her feet, and just says, what do we do after all of this? Do we just go home and carry on like normal? Like, what are you gonna do?
Next to impossible. Yeah, I really don't know. And Tom is also kind of like following suit, like using my feet to sort of like dig into the sand a little bit, and my hands also are just kind of like wiggling around and burying a little bit just to anchor myself. And she sighs and says, I don't know what to do about my mom. There's obviously a conversation that needs to happen, and I don't know how to begin approaching that. Hey, Mom. So you've been lying to us. I don't know. It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But you don't
it's
have
gonna
to do it
happen.
alone. You got
I
backup.
know. And Tom looks up and looks over at you. Thanks.
Yeah. Duh. Obvi.
I think it's also just hard knowing that there's Tom sighs and just kind of clenches her fists of sand and kind of just like throws it off, and the sand kind of like drifts away in the wind. And she sighs, posture slumped, and says, it's just like we have such a close relationship, and over the course of I don't know how fucking long, everything that I've ever known and thought is actually not true, and now the person who I really look up to, the person who I've tried my entire life to please and to make her happy, hurt someone else in our family. And I I I think my brain keeps going to the worst case scenario, and that's Tom digs her hands back in the sand, just trails off.
I mean, yeah, it's complicated, and I have never claimed to be an expert in this family or someone who even wanted to dig that deep into it. I mean, I barely speak to my mom. I barely speak to my dad. I have no idea what my brother's doing. So I can't claim to know what it's like to be dealing with this much complication with that relationship. But one thing I do know about people, and I guess family too, is that two truths can exist in the same breath. That love and that closeness you have with your mom can be true, and she also can hurt people the same way that we can hurt people and love people at the same time. And
Tom's
one of the parts of learning who we are and learning who our families are is learning that they're just people fucking shit up the same way that we fucked some shit up.
Yeah. And Tom's hand pulls out of the sand a sand dollar that has been completely bleached by the sun. And she runs a thumb over it, just clearing some of the sand off of it, and places it on her thigh and just kind of looks at it. And Tom says, "How do you do it?
What?
You know, what? Be so scrutinized by the public."
You mean like what I do at work?
Yeah, as an influencer.
I mean, hey, look, there's a part of this that's like when you've been scrutinized your whole life, it just sort of fades into the background, you know, like furniture. And I've the one thing I've gotten really good at, and she like leans into you a little bit, into your side. Like the one thing I've gotten really good at is choosing what to care about. And I can choose to care about what you think of me. She like nudges you. And I can choose to care about what Myto thinks of me, as long as he keeps sending me like really fierce jewelry. And I can choose to think about what Gabriel thinks of me, but I don't care what other people think about me. And you shouldn't care what people think about you.
Yeah, I usually don't, but Tom looks at this sand dollar that is sitting on top of some of her new scarring that is going down her legs, and just stares silently for a bit, and then looks up at you again, and she says, "I don't know what she's going to say about all of this. I feel I haven't even really gotten a good chance to look at all of it. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's just different."
Oh, you mean
And
your scars?
yeah,
You do you think someone's gonna feel badly about that or judge you for that?
I think tears well up in Tom's eyes, and she just kind of like really quickly wipes them away, and she says, "I know it sounds really silly, and compared to everything else we've been through, it really doesn't matter, but I couldn't stop thinking about how much my appearance specifically has mattered to Mom. And I've always been her beautiful little girl. And, you know, I haven't even told her that I'm not really a girl, but that's also a conversation for later. That is not a conversation for now. That is a secret thing for later. But
You know, first of all, I think when it comes to your new scars, which I've already said look fucking fierce, by the way, they look hot as hell. And they are a mark of the transformation that you've had and the strength that you have to sacrifice and save for family. And I think that's the best accessory. But, you know, let me just tell you, all of this stuff, the stuff I do online, that's not real. That's a character. That's not a real person. That's a person I made up because the stuff I have to say matters. She's not real. She's never been real. I had to make her to make me matter. And if somebody you love is gonna think that you're less than because you went through hell and back, then disrespect to your mom, but like disrespect to her. Like, fuck her. She can kick rocks.
Tom laughs and I think scooches like a little closer to you, and she says, "Thanks. I guess I'm just more worried that she's just gonna make a big deal out of this pain that I went through because I visually look like I've been to hell and back, and she's just not gonna want to talk about the stuff I actually want to talk about. Because, like, this is done and over, and it happened.
I think
I'll
Carmen
process that
doesn't
later.
like cut you off, or but she kind of like gives you a little like side look and is like, Tom, do you have any girlfriends in New York?
No.
Yeah, you got a like little posse that you hang out with. There's it mainly just like you and Gabriel and your family.
I thought you meant like dating partners, like girls.
Oh, yeah, that too. But I just mean
I
like
have friends. I have friends.
Okay. Because I feel like, it's okay to want to get closure with your mom and like figure that out. And if that's something you really want, like, hey, girly, like, go get it. But you don't need to have that with your mom to get that closure. And if when we get back to the city, and this is where Carmen like stands up, she's like, when we get back to the city, you got some shit you need to get out, you just give me a call, give me a text. I will gather a gaggle of girlies and we can hash it out there.
Tom also stands up, taking the sand dollar in her hand and just like brushing some of the sand off of her. That thanks.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, Joy, of course. You're the best. You've always been the best. And I think this is Carmen, there's like that affect that she has. But the thing about Carmen is everything she says, she believes fully with her chest. It's like, you're the best. And the fact that you don't think that is like fucking crazy, honestly. Like, we're gonna figure this out.
I appreciate the hype squad. And Tom will go in for a hug, and after a moment, I think just looks out towards the ocean. She says, "This is really pretty. Not anything like New York." And
I need to go home though. Come back.
yeah.
And I think Carmen gives you like a kiss on the cheek, but in like that kind of aggressive way you kiss your dog. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she gives you
Tom's
like
wait.
an intense, aggressive kiss. And Facey is like, okay, like heart to heart, we did that. Should we go talk to these old fogies?
Yeah.
Because they might die waiting for us on the beach for real.
They're not that old.
I don't know. They look
I
really
mean,
fucking
I
old.
mean, there's a couple greats. So I mean, let's go.
Some great grows. She like very
And
tightly and
Tom,
aggressively like links an arm with you.
yeah. And Tom will pocket the sand dollar, and we will walk towards the tent.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. And we see the transition of scene from you two both turning on the keel and beginning to walk back up on that tent fade out as we're back seeing the door off to the distance that Grandma Luna is looking at, and then her looking back at you two. It's up to you. But if there's anyone who has arguably been the most by the family, she didn't have, and she kind of motions to both of you two sitting next to each other. She didn't have cousins that stood with her.
Sorry. Who didn't have cousins? I'm confused.
Ariel,
Is Ariel there?
yeah. In
She's not with us.
No,
in
we're
the-
back with Myto and Gabriel.
Oh, we've cut away. I was like, what are we doing?
Yep, back to Grandma Luna looking at the door.
So we're not there.
No.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
You're so
You're
good. Yeah, I think I know how that feels. But I would like to speak to her. But he looks over towards Myto. Um, we can go whenever you're ready. If you are even ready.
Yeah,
If you even want to. Even.
I think I do. But you go ahead. I'm just gonna
Okay.
take a few minutes, and you see Myto get up from the bench, and they're just gonna take a step towards the wall where there's bookshelves and knickknacks, and looks back at Gabriel. I'm gonna collect myself because I don't know what I want to know.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be right behind you. And they turn back towards looking at the wall.
And I think Gabriel allows you that space. As he stands up, he pays his respects to both Grandma and Grandpa before walking towards the room. And he'll very gently, with his pointer finger knuckle, rap against the door.
And you hear some like scuffling of sheets a little bit as you hear,
Hmm.
"Oh, come in."
He peers in and then steps in. He's like, "Hi, Auntie." Before closing the door behind him.
And you can tell there's genuine surprise at who walked through. Not disappointment, just as excited, but definitely a surprise. As she sits up a little straighter and like both hands down on the on the sides of the bed. You see that it's just like a regular little bedroom. There's a small desk, a vanity, a closet, and she paler than you remember her a bit, but with chipper spirit. You see her like legs under the covers back against the pillow.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel will slowly make his way to a chair right by her side, and he says, clocking her surprise, and says, Myto just needs a moment before they come in. And as he takes a seat and places his hands against the knees of his trousers, grasping onto the cloth a little bit. we've kind of been through the ringer a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think they're still processing it.
Yeah. You know, I don't blame any of you for processing it. Of course.
How are you feeling?
Almost as if visual, she bats away your question. As it's almost like she sees it coming in the air the second you say it, and she just looks off to the side, batting it away. And then looks back at you. I'm so sorry, Gabriel.
What are you apologizing for?
You never deserved what your mother did. What my sister did. This wasn't your mess to clean up, and I don't need the niceties. I have made my peace.
Nah,
I used to hate myself for what standing up to my family did, but... And you see this genuine smile kind of come across her face. It was worth it.
I wasn't gonna give you any niceties. It took a really, really painful, arduous challenge to get this attitude now. So I will be keeping it probably for the foreseeable future. No, you're right. I didn't deserve what happened with my mother and everything. But I don't think it was your fault either. You know? I think what would help me a little more is piecing why everything shook out the way that it did. You know what I mean? Because it just...
Yeah.
Were you and my mom so desperate of siblings, so disconnected from one another that there wasn't a middle ground that could be found somewhere? That you didn't have to endure this, Myto didn't have to endure this, I didn't have to endure this. You know?
We can respect family and friends and in essence our roots while also still growing in our own direction, but when your mother and I came here with... She kind of nods outside with Grandma Luna and Grandpa Eo. We had the opportunity to make a name for ourselves, make a name for the family in this new place, in this new country. Me and my sister, we just wanted different things. We started off wanting the same thing, but what we wanted was different in the end, and how we went about it, was very different.
Yeah. Just feels like... I've said this probably a million times this past couple days. Just feels like it didn't have to come down to this. It feels like Niran didn't have to. And I think he holds his tongue. He's been speaking so openly, he's forgotten the tact that he usually holds as that name slips out of him clumsily. I'm sorry.
Actually, I was just looking at a picture, and you see now she's got like some very quiet tears in her eyes, and she kind of pulls her right hand up, and it was on holding a photo down, and you see that there's like a rip, like the corner of it is missing in this photo. And what you can see from like this angled part that is remaining, you see a very young Ariel with a very young Naren with this like weird cat with the head of an owl sitting on the top of Naren's head. This was one of the last photos we had together. I was just, he used to tell a bunch of really funny jokes. This is Mango, as she points at this thing.
It's a cute name, Mango.
That's what he stole. Didn't matter who had it. You see her sniffle and yeah.
You look so happy.
We were really happy.
I know it feels too late almost to say all of this, but now that most of everything is done, but you needn't carry everything on your own, right? I know that you feel estranged and alone and isolated. I know what that's like. I think of all people, I understand how you felt. But maybe this next chapter of the family and whatever it looks like doesn't have you as the one man defender of against everything that the family weighs down upon you. Maybe a group of little Arpstarts can support you a bit more. Grandma, grandpa.
You see her like wipe her tears and kind of sit up a little bit with this sense of conviction. She sort of like stretches her shoulders a little bit. She goes, "Well, that's what I told my mom or your grandmother. That's what I told them. Everyone fought me on bringing you all here. Guilt's very powerful. Guilt is very powerful, and there's some family members, and you start to notice that as she speaks with more conviction and more factualness, there's a little bit of a staccato-ness, almost similarly to how Myto talks sometimes. And she just sitting up, yeah, well, that's what I told them, and guilt can be a great power sometimes, and I know when to wield power when I need to now, because she comes down again. There are some people that wish things had done. They had done things differently, and like I said, I've made my peace. And I respect what Myto wants to do. If Myto wants to talk or he doesn't, I'm not gonna hold it against him. He's still the bestest kid I could have asked for.
Myto is the bestest kid. And I think Myto just needs time. That's all. Everything that happened and everything that unraveled, I had nearly 2 decades of time to process the dynamics that I was born into. Myto's had a week tops of, and with the most recent stuff, a couple of days. And they're doing really well, despite it being a couple of days. I think Myto just needs time. And I think I cannot guarantee and tell you that everything is going to be like that. And he kind of like gestures with his eyes to the photo. But Myto's a good kid. And they love so sincerely in their own funny little way. And it'll be better than whatever we've endured this past few years.
All of you deserve a break.
Tell me about it. He like chuckles a little wryly as he like leans back in the chair. I'm not giving up on this family, but I'm definitely a little more braver about side-eyeing some movements we make in the future for sure.
If you hang around your grandmother enough, you'll get it down.
And in that moment, you hear Grandma Luna kind of like push Myto towards the door, and you just kind of hear her just like, go, just go, just go. And Myto kind of like opens the door and peeks in. It's like, hey Gabriel,
Hey.
I found a few pictures, and then they open up the door a little bit more. I was also eavesdropping a little bit. We're trying to do a little bit better with communication, so yeah, I did have my ear against the door, and Grandma made me come in, and their eyes kind of drift across the bed, and it's like, hi, Yara, or
You can call me Ariel or Yara if it, whichever one you want.
yeah, I mean, naming classifications, they can be whatever you want, however you want to talk. I just remember, you wanted me to call you Yara when we were in the arena, and I just, I think what you've created is really cool, and if you want to ever talk tech, I think I would really enjoy that.
You just see her reach under the sheets for a second, and slowly, like a notebook that's open appears. And again, it's as she's pulling it out, it's making the same like ruffling that you heard Gabriel before, like when you had knocked on the door. As you hear like the same ruffles as now she's pulling what she had hidden out. And it's a rather big book, and it's open with a pencil kind of in the middle of all of these intricate engineering designs. And with your brain and with no roll and your eyesight, even from the other side of the room, you can see it looks like an expansion plan for what was down there that you were messing with in the Coliseum. Well, actually, and the staccato coming back a little bit, actually, if you had mentioned before when you were down there some of the things that you thought would be really cool, and so I had actually made some preliminary designs, but just one, as people say, like one cook in the kitchen only gets so far. Sometimes it's good to have a, no pun intended, like a whiteboard, someone to bounce things off of if you ever wanted to.
Yeah.
The resemblance is uncanny.
And Myto is like grabbing these schematics. It's like, it's really cool that you brought in this biotechnology, but I also I may have taken some of the Milen, not for anything bad, but. And Myto looks over at this picture of and kind of unrolls it and looks at this creature and like taps at this picture. Is that Stitches?
I thought you were eavesdropping.
Sorry,
I just assumed if you were eavesdropping you would know. But no, I can this is Mango.
Well, when you were talking about Mango, I thought you were talking about Gabriel as a kid always stealing the mango.
No, I did no such thing. And he is weirdly defensive about an accusation of him stealing a sweet item.
But yeah, you're correct. I was eavesdropping, but you didn't mention anything about the limb length, and what a weird choice for the head. But I guess they could see better.
If you think about like kitten's reflexes, Mango was able to literally just jump to the tallest building sometimes, and literally with the owl head. You know how far owls can see? Literally, almost pulling its head in a full 360.
Right, but if you
It was
kept the cat's eyesight, they have the nocturnal ability to see through darkness.
no, but it was an owl's head.
Right.
An owl's head was on top of the kitten, so it technically wasn't the kitten's eyesight. I kind of messed with the spinal tissue and the fluid
Oh,
just
I
a
did
little
too.
bit. Oh, you did?
Yes.
Have you
It can
tried?
expand.
It can
and reduce.
expand. Oh, mangoes couldn't reduce. I did run into trouble one very cold summer, and you just from outside you just hear a groan in unison from Grandma Luna and Grandpa Eo, obviously remembering the days of them having to deal with mango, and completely ignoring the sounds from outside. Ariel continues, is like, yeah, but the coolest thing, have you done the eyes? Have you done the eyes with stitches?
Well,
Yeah.
when I was in when I was in experimenting in the lab, I actually created this tesseract that let me modify things on the go. And they can be organic or inorganic as long as it has the shape. I'm able to sync it up with the molecular biology with stitches. But
What
do you
stitches? And you just see her kind of like tap the bed a little bit, sitting up, once again leaning over, like, are they around? Are they around here? Where's stitches?
actually I left stitches back with Orúno, and William and the rest of the family really. I thought they could use it more than us, but I can always create another one. And I don't know if it's weird. I don't know how you feel about maybe creating something together.
And you see it look like all of the air was sucked out of the room as Ariel frozen for a moment, eyes so wide you can almost see them sparkle in the perfect glow of the sunset coming through the window. That would be really cool, really cool. I would like that. We could, yeah.
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 I've been experimenting with centipedes. And I also stole. Again, I didn't steal. I asked the land for some Alen. And I think we could make something pretty magnificent out of it. But
Yeah, that they didn't tell you the really cool, or okay, well, maybe not cool. I don't know if I would say cool, but for scientific exploration, really cool. But you didn't really need to steal the Milan. You could have just used your blood a little bit. But that's my
This
fault.
family concerns me.
And just kind of like bats a couple eyes like at Gabriel's comments, like, yeah, no, so when I was trying to, since you know everything already, when I was trying to change components of the Milan, I should not have been messing with it for as long as I should have while I was pregnant. Crazy, who would have thought? But all on the frontier of scientific exploration. So when you took part in the ritual with Irasima, it probably didn't affect you as much because, everyone got these cool powers and yours has always been with you. They kind of like scratch at their brain a little bit.
And you see Myto kind of like, that makes sense. I think I have been creating really cool things on the farm. But what about this? And you see Myto kind of go through their bag and they pull out like a jar with a little nudie branch. I also took one of these, and it's swimming around in the Millennium too. So, I mean, that's what I meant when I said I took some Milen. But
that's actually kind of cool because now you have both the Milen and you have. Oh, there's so many things we could do. Actually, and she starts like going through papers and you just see these large outlines and engineering.
How about I let you
plans
both catch up? Gabriel stands up and
and you
pushes your shoulder.
you feel a grasp on your forearm, and you don't. Sorry, I haven't been able to talk science. You know,
No, I mean it's good. It's Myto, it's good. It's good that you're
it's-
connecting this way.
yeah. But I, th- I don't. Do you mind
You
just?
still need me?
Yeah, if you could just.
Gabriel sits back down, crosses his legs, leans back, and smiles at you and says, "Alright, I'll sit here.
And Myto
As
goes
long as you
back.
don't mind me looking bewildered at all of gestures to all the papers and notes and outlines that are happening right in front of him."
It's okay because we can upgrade your gauntlet, and then I could add some of this engineering to Carmen's bracelet, and I guess we can figure something out for Tom's stick holder. But this is fascinating. What if we utilize insects as power? I have figured out a way for the centipedes to start harnessing a little bit of sunlight through their antennas. And I think with the nudie branches, the way that they reacted with the Malen, I think there's something that we could do that's brilliant. That could really, really step up recovery. It could, help out things on the farm, and it might be able to, maybe, um, well, keep us connected. Maybe keep us a little more connected, whether we're back in normal life or back, underneath the water. I think there has to be a way. There has to be a way. We have a little bit of this, we have a little bit of that, and with your schematics, I think we can bring something really cool.
You barely hear it, just for a passing moment where you pause in what you're saying. And the camera not fully fading out just yet, but starting to around the edges. As you see Ariel looking at you with the brightest smile and taking in all of this with her own plans, kind of like she's looking around the room. As she says under her breath, "Worth it." Does Myto or Gabriel do anything as the camera begins to fade?
Gabriel is the notes holder. I think as this discussion continues, I just keep holding the paper.
Yeah, I think as the schematics kind of get scattered across the room, Myto, in this whole interaction, has stepped farther away from Gabriel and onto the bed, as if they were at a slumber party, and is sitting with Ariel on the bed, just reading through all of these blueprints.
Okay. The camera begins to fade out through the window as we see all of this talk, and we see Gabriel holding these notes. Grandpa, just kind of walking past, checking in to make sure everything's okay, and then, old Grandpa chuckled to himself before walking back. And we just hear in the softest voice before the camera leaves, what would be really cool is if we introduced them, though. Because sometimes it's a lot to take care of. As we just see the tiniest little guy jump onto Myto's lap, as we hear the tiniest little from an owl's face and a kitten's body looking up at Myto.
Ah!
As the camera fades out and we come back onto the beach, as we see both Carmen and Tamsyn making their way up towards that open tent. And like I mentioned before, you just see now 3 people seated. You see Kurumin, your great-great-grandfather, sitting on a chair, kind of leaned back, smoking a pipe. You see Hauni sitting on the ground, crisscross applesauce, your aunt, again, the youngest elder you had met here, who is kind of folding, like in these intricate ways, folding leaves in and out of each other and putting together a basket. And you just see Irasima always consciously aware of everything going around them as they kind of watch you two walk up out of the corner of their eye.
Can I
Okay.
ask, like, what is the setup? Are they in the open air tent? Is there other places to sit? Like, what's the
Yeah,
what is
the
what is
open air
vibe?
tent very similarly to how it was before, but now it's not full of people. You see a couple cushions on the ground, and it's all pretty sporadic. Everyone it looks like the three of them grabbed things to sit near each other, but you see a couple chairs. Irasima's sitting on the sand itself. And again, it's just the tent head above you, nothing really, no walls of the tent around you.
Hey, can you remind me, did we talk to them before? Have we spoken to these people before?
One of
I
them
just
is the
can't
one who gave us
remember.
our powers, right? Or
Both
no?
of them are. So Hauni was the one was the first one who gave the block to Gabriel, was the first person,
Right.
whereas obviously Irasima gave Carmen hers, or pseudo, and then Gurumin was ironically the person who gave
Me a
Tamsyn
stick. I
stick.
found it in
Yep.
my notes.
Yep, because you gave the cookies and he completely forgot about your present for a second and just went and was eating the snacks.
Got it.
So
Okay.
he's here.
Yes.
Oh, amazing. Okay. So
Go ahead.
I think we walk up, and if there's an open chair, I think Tom just kind of like sits in it very casually. Um and she's holding her staff and kind of just like sticks it into the ground, and it stands straight up. Um and I want to have sat down across from him, Kurumin, right? Am I saying that right?
Gurumin.
Kurumin. Um, and I think she like sticks it in the dirt or the grass or the sand or whatever it is. And just kind of like leans on the table like this, looking at him,
Yeah.
and almost mirroring the childlike glint that he had in his eyes. Tom just kind of like leans over and looks at him and says, and like kind of jerks her head towards the staff and says, "I know what this does now."
And he just stands up again, like he's got glasses being held up by his cheeks. And you just see him stand up and kind of like walk over to it. And he's looking up and down the stick with just this huge smile. And then just gets a little too quickly close to you, like just a foot or two away from your face. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, when did this grow? I gave you a much smaller stick. And like the solemn quietness that was in the group is now pierced by this old man's voice. I gave you a much bigger stick. What is this? Oh, I didn't know what it did. What does it do? And he's like, just like measuring it with his hands. Because again, this was handcrafted.
Yeah. And Tom says, "I actually don't know. Like, I woke up the next day and it looked different. Less like a stick and more like a staff, more like a straight shape, easier to carry, I guess."
Fascinated. I am brilliant. I tell them they say I have lost my spunk, but I tell them this old man still
No,
knows his magic. Yes.
I don't think you've lost it. I will say I was a little confused at first, but I wanted to come back and very genuinely say thank you for the gift, and I am sorry for any ungrateful thoughts or vibes I may have given you the night of.
Oh no, no. And he turns to the rest of the group almost like in a show to Irasima and Haoni and looks at them. I knew this was the best gift for her. And then leans back to you in a whisper. So what does it do? Just trying so that the others can't hear. What is it? What does it do?
Okay, so the part where I said I know what this does, I think I know what this does, but I actually don't know exactly what the stick itself does, but I know what my powers are, if that makes sense.
Yes,
And
it
I
does make
think
sense.
the your gift allows me to channel the powers more. So
Oh,
thank you.
I am very smart. Well, if you want to use it again, you just come back here whenever, take some of the melon. It will work perfectly. He sits back
So
down
it
and
it,
pushes up his glasses.
it wears out,
I,
and
and
Tom looks to Carmen.
and I think at that moment, Carmen tries to channel some electricity to see what happens.
And you go to channel the electricity and feel the same strength that you did before, but nothing comes out.
Wait. Okay. So you all gave us these powers to do this big, life-threatening family job. People literally died. And after we've done that, like, now we just lose them? And we just have to go back to our lives? And I think she's looking at the whole group to be like, not even angry, just sort of, what are we doing here, man?
And you see quiet little Haoni just pipe up a little bit. She looks up at you with these bright eyes. So the powers that you all were given were gifted by the Malen. And she kind of looks to the other two. This quiet recognition that everyone now knows what has happened. She looks at everyone, back to you. The Malen, when taken too much, or taken too often, especially in large doses, causes the fugue states. And so what you all were given was enough Malen to see if you could figure out what had been wrong. Not too much that it would hurt you, but enough that it would help you. So the Malen has shown you what you are capable of and has gifted you these powers, but they are not accessible permanently. There are ways to take the Malen in smaller doses or sporadically. There are some people who have chosen, and she points to herself, who have chosen to no longer take the Malen because of adverse side effects, or for me, I just didn't like how I felt.
How did you feel?
I was angry. The power that it gifted me was empathy, which I had a hard time with before. And the Malen allowed me to really feel the struggles that other people were going through. And to be able to help, I guess how therapists do sometimes, help them decipher how to recenter themselves. But in taking on so much energy and so much of another person's feelings. And you notice when she starts saying this, she isn't breaking eye contact with you, Carmen. That too much of a feeling, if you're unable to regulate it, let's just say it's okay to be angry, but sometimes it might not be a good thing if you forget to also fight for your peace and not just yourself.
I think Carmen really sits with that and reflects on the fact that anger doesn't come super naturally to Carmen. Not that she doesn't feel it. Of course she does. You know, there's been all kinds of bubbling resentment from her own family, from her own past. But the last day or so where it's been really at the surface is not something Carmen's super comfortable with generally or accesses very easily. And I think she looks up, looks at all these elders, thinks about the repercussions that all these secrets have had on their lives that now have affected the cousins. And looks at Irasima, who I think has been the brunt of this anger for Carmen, and mostly feels sad for them. She doesn't feel the same like gratitude for her powers the same way that Tam or, you know, some of the other folks might have. She certainly doesn't feel a sense of needing to pay respects in the same way Gabriel does, but I think she understands, even if she doesn't agree with that, there has been their own weight and heaviness that these folks have gone through. And then just looks up and says out loud, I have nothing to say to you.
And you see Irasima, that same smirk you've seen time and time again, reach into her shirt. Well, then you may need this. And pulls out your phone. Before from the ground reaching up, offering it to you.
Carmen walks up to her, takes the phone before taking it out of her hand, says, you know, you really are a bitch, but I kind of like it.
And she kind of leans in. Game represents game. Go fuck them up.
All right. She looks at Tam and is like, oh, does our group chat still work? Where are the
As
other two?
Gabriel
Hello?
and Myto, you guys hear that as you come back into range and see both Clare, or both Carmen and
Hello?
Tamsyn there.
Hello?
Turn around.
Hey. Regroup? Hey.
And you, Carmen and Tamsyn, you see Gabriel and Myto walking down towards the beach.
Tom will take the staff and turn back to the elders that are sitting here, and I think she gives a sort of side glance to Carmen and then says to them, just like a playing peacemaker again, and I think Tom just says, thank you. I think we're gonna head out and just hang out with our cousins before we all leave. Got a plane to catch, I think tomorrow or something. I don't remember, but yeah, it was nice talking to you all.
And you get a nod from
for
oh, sorry,
the information. Thank you for the information, and you know, hopefully next time we see you, it's under better circumstances. And
you see
Tom
all
feels
of
kind of
them.
awkward.
Sorry, you see like Irasima kind of just not give you one nod, and Haoni's like giving you a little head bow. But Kurumin stands up, and if you allow him, will go to like touch both of your shoulders.
Mhm.
And he kind of he like big smile. It will be better next time, because, and he again leans in towards your ear, those treats, the cookies you made, don't tell Taina, she will kill me. Best cookies I've ever had. If you can bring some of those to the next, or if you want to bring the recipe. No, I'm getting greedy. And he kind of just puts it back. Thank you. As he lets your arm
And
go.
I think at that moment,
Tom-
Carmen comes again and slinks an arm in your arm.
yeah. And I think Carmen drags me away towards the beach, but like I look over my shoulder and I throw him a wink and just nod. And I think I mouth like I'll bring you extra.
There's a little as you all kind of regroup just a few feet from the edge of the water coming in with the tide. As you see just beyond, now not a golden hour, but an orange glow covering the beach as it's just you, 4 cousins, and the sun setting in front of you.
Wow.
Did you guys get some good family time,
Yes.
or?
Yeah. I learned a lot of science today.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
And you see
what kind of
Myto is
science?
still fumbling through their backpack. Oh, well, we met up with Yara, Ariel, my mom, or I don't know. But anyways, Gabriel did such a good job holding these schematics while we discussed. And then Myto
Oh.
realizes they're not even like
Holding.
acknowledging.
Table,
Yeah.
like a side table or something.
Myto kind
Hey.
of like stuffs all the paper and is like, Gabriel, thank you. Thank you for being there.
Least I could do. I mean, I wanted to talk to her as well, and it was nice. It was nice to just chat and be your side table holding all of that. Uh, Obviously, there's still stuff waiting back home that I'm not particularly excited about.
Hey. And Tom will just like reach out for Gabriel.
Hmm.
And I think in a rare moment of Tom taking the lead to comfort you, she says, that is a problem for future us.
Future us. I like
think-
that.
I think
I like
present
that a lot.
us. I think present us. And Tom will like look to Carmen and Myto also. I think future cut that. I think present us should enjoy this. And just like looks at the sunset. And she pauses for a bit and then says, so Carmen and I learned that our powers are temporary and that
What?
we will just be normal again.
Oh, I suppose it was tied to the Milan, so I suppose if we don't
Yeah, they said
ingest it.
if you take more, you could keep them, but otherwise we're just gonna be normal people again.
Well, that's
I learned that we can, if you, I don't know how to say this without being a little gross, but if you ever wanted your powers again, I could probably distill my blood and you could drink it if you ever needed to.
we did learn that, yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, y'all went
What?
there. So Yara, Ariel, played around with the Milan while she was pregnant, and surprise, Milan runs in my blood. But it's cool because it's mostly just my brain. which I think is okay.
Oh, so that's why your powers aren't gonna fade, because you're just smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's the long and short of it.
Oh,
Cool.
Speaking of, could I get your group chats? Yeah, just
Like
unclick
back?
them real quick. Yeah, just real quick. And you see Myto reach out. Just drop them in here real quick. And they just go off to the side, and in their backpack they're just gonna keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm gonna try something real quick. And they're just fidgeting in their bag.
like
Tom
it's hard
turns
for
to the
us
other
to
two.
like keep talking amongst ourselves. Like you just gave a lot of weird information and then like took a bunch of our
Yeah.
stuff.
Carmen, when I said
Blood.
amongst yourselves without me, I'm focusing. on
Oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking about you.
the voice is
She's
coming
doing the
towards me.
thing where she's talking about you out loud in earshot of you, but not
But
to you.
Tom, you're
Right?
also
Did I
talking to
get
me,
that?
You
but
did.
you're talking-
You got that accurately.
All
Correct.
right,
That's what I
all
did.
right, both of you, don't bully
Okay.
them too
Anyways,
much.
and you see Myto like pull out this little gadget with our four communicators on each side, and it looks like a little rectangular transformer of some sort, and you see them kind of like biting on the inside of their lip, just enough to draw a little bit of blood, and they like wipe it straight down this communicator. Okay, and hands it over to Carmen. Can you just try to talk into this real quick? You don't have to touch my blood. Just talk to the top.
Gets real close to it. Goes, hello. Hello. Am I doing it right?
I think so.
Is something supposed to happen?
Hold on. And then Myto takes another swab of their saliva / blood mixture.
Carmen is horrified.
And like
This
wipes it on
is
the
terrifying.
So gross.
Tom looks pretty grossed out too.
But in the way
Yeah.
that like pimple popping is, it's gross, but you like can't look away.
Oh, sorry, you're talking into the wrong end. Flip it around.
Okay. Hello.
Whoa, this is super weird. Who's that?
Hi, is that William?
Is this the secret keeper?
Yeah. I think we now have a secret talkie thing.
Oh, we have a secret. This is really weird. Am I a part of the group chat? No, I don't know. Leave me alone. No, leave me alone. I gotta talk to them first. I gotta talk to them. And you just hear like, as you hear pa 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 of like a kid running away.
I do that thing that moms do, even though they can hear it, where I like cover it and I'm like, it's William.
And you see the communicators on the side just kind of dim down. It was glowing this like blue Milan. Oh, I guess I should say it right now. Just a prototype. It doesn't last as it kind of lasts as long as my saliva and blood are wet. So once it dries up, we should. Anyways, this is I guess this is my way of saying that we can still keep in touch with. And Myto just kind of looks up at the sunset, reflecting off the water. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to figure out a way to stay in touch with William and Orúno and Stitches, but and you see them wipe off their lips one more time. And there has to be an easier way, but I'll figure it out. And I can ask Ariel to help me out too, but that's kind of cool, right? Sorry, that's weird.
Carmen,
It's
if
not
you
weird,
let
huh?
her, just like goes in for a cuddle. Because I think she really likes William.
You go in for the cuddle, and you kind of hear on the speaker in between both of your chests now. Hello? I think I broke it. Oh no.
Oh no!
No, you're doing great.
Oh, I'm doing great! Ah! And you just hear in the background, see, I told you I'm doing great. That's what I said.
I think I hand the communicator to like Gabriel and Tom in case they want to, talk to William in the background. I say, oh my god, to like Tom said, it's so beautiful. It's golden hour. Like we should, not to be annoying, but like, can we take a selfie? Is that okay? Like Cuzzy selfie?
Yeah.
Of course we
that
can.
would be really
Yeah.
nice.
And she, with her, now that she has her phone, she goes into her pocket to get her phone. And I think as she's taking out her phone, realizes that something was in there from when we left underwater. That extra thing in her pocket. And she takes it out.
My brother's calling me. Supposedly there's a rogue fish on the loose, and it's my mission. The camera pans a little William as it comes back. Can I call you back on this line?
Yeah, it should be a little bit easier next time. Just, make sure Stitches doesn't get a hold of your, group chat, okay?
Okay. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. And like a kid not knowing how to hang up, you just hear as it goes into his pocket, whatever it was, and you just hear, the Stitches, you can't touch this one thing. You can't touch it, okay? Just as it just fades out.
And I mean, Kris, what is it that Carmen finds in her pocket?
So you find just a one-page piece of paper folded a few times in Orúno's handwriting as you open it up and see that it's addressed to you.
Guys, I think Orúno wrote us a letter. And
What?
and she goes to read it out loud. I will now read it out loud. I've never seen this before. Dear cousin Carmen, you may be wondering why I decided to make you responsible for reading this, but I figured you'd enjoy reading something that's not a TikTok clickbait or an Instagram story. She looks at the group. True story. You can thank me later. If the cousins can, please read this to everyone. I'm so smart, because I'm already reading it to all of you. Carmen, you may think yourself an odd choice for this, but odd was how I felt having to dive into this crazy adventure, and through it I got to see you become more, well, I guess, you. I know I chose the right person for the job. I know that my choice to stay may have surprised some of you and left some of you confused. I do not have much time to explain, so I'll be brief. I know we all feel that change is needed within this family. We want to make a difference, and I think I know how to do that. I heard the Milen at the cave. I heard it weep when we arrived, and I heard it peaceful as we departed. I now know what forced my brother to stay here as he is. To my mom, dad, let them know that I've had many emotions about the choices they made about this incredible secret. But I think this family I am now a part of has had enough resentment, hatred, bitterness in its past. And I'm choosing differently. I'm choosing to tell you both, I understand. Maybe not all of it, but enough to move past the omissions of the past and focus on the present. I have a brother I now get to spend time with, whatever length that may be. I have relatives with a very questionable past, but I also have a family that I have found in the cousins that now stand before you. The great sin of our family was to let one of our own make a sacrifice and then abandon them when he needed family the most, left at the mercy of madness and pain. Some of us, like William and I, are left with an hourglass that reminds us our time is finite, more than perhaps it should be. I do not fully understand my powers yet, but I think I understand what I can try to do. I will be returning to the cave, reaching into the Milen, and seeking to understand it further. If my thoughts, or rather my imagination, are correct, perhaps one day I will learn to move the doom within our blood out of it. I'm dedicating myself to becoming the support my uncle did not have in this cave. If this is to be where those who are lost are bound to end up, I'll make sure they won't arrive to a cold and desolate place. I will be here. To my mom and dad, I love you. William is a brilliant young kid, and I'm sure he'll teach me so much. I look forward to doing the same. Carmen, Gabriel, Myto, Tam. When I was a child, I often imagined what it would be like to have more family. There was never a scenario as good as this. For there was no way I could have imagined such an amazing family on my own. Live fully, live hard, and whenever you are ready, I will meet you again beneath the surface. Orúno.
I'm glad that GM picked you. I would have sobbed through that.
Carmen is crying.
Cool. And I think also is tearing up, and asks to see it after you're done reading.
Yeah, she
Um,
gives it to you.
And Tom just looks at it and looks up and out at the sunset and just sighs and says, I'm gonna miss him.
We'll
Just
come
met
back
him
and we'll come back and see him again. They're
Hey,
not out
if-
of reach.
Yeah.
I think Carmen's like wiping away some snot and some tears, and she's like, "Hey, if we really, really miss him, we could just get Myto to spit on this thing. Just hawk a loogie, my guy."
Yeah, we'll figure it a
Well,
way.
the blood is the important bit, I think, so it has to be bloody spit, which I think is worse.
That's worse.
Yeah. That we can agree on.
Oi, what do we do now?
Well,
I found this.
I think. Well,
And Tom pulls the sand dollar out of her pocket. And is gonna give it to Gabriel.
oh.
I found this.
Very cute. This is very cute. Thank you. And I think he like holds
Tom
it
just-
in his hand. And there's a small melancholy that kind of falls over Gabriel as his fingers trace the sand dollar. You used to pick up all sorts of trinkets for me when we would go to the beach. As he looks over at the sand dollar, and then looks listlessly over to the ocean, the sea, where our cousin resides beneath. And as this like melancholy like settles over Gabriel, he like wraps a big arm around you, Tom, and like squeezes you just a little too tightly in a very annoying older brother fashion. Before he smiles and says, I think we just have fun. I think that's what we gotta do. And then the next time we see Orúno, we will tell him all the fun we had and then drag him with. We'll find some chaos to do underwater. Carmen, I'm sure you can find a cool party spot down there.
On it.
Yeah, we have to make a pact that the next time we do a reunion that nothing bad happens.
Well, I
To
mean,
be fair, we didn't ask for the. we were
We
wholly
didn't.
not responsible
And-
the bad stuff.
We're not gonna wait, right, for the next reunion to like all hang
No.
out because like at least three of
We
us
should
already live in the
organize
city.
one. We
So
should organize one.
We should organize
Or-
one, and
or we could
that
just
way-
like get the four of us. It could just be the four of us. Maybe we could just get the four of us.
we could surprise the old folks. That way, there's not enough time for any drama to be kicked up. Because it's always the reunion. Because everyone's like, "Oh, wait till the reunion happens." We can preempt all
Bam!
of it.
Surprise reunion. They did it to us. Tom looks genuinely excited at this idea.
Gabriel laughs hysterically. I'm like, "You're really into this idea that I just shot out."
I just
Or-
think it would be funny.
Here's a different
No?
idea. Like maybe we put that
Okay.
idea like in the parking lot, and a different idea is maybe that we like leave all the old people where they are because as their health is very questionable and I'm very concerned about it and I like don't want them to get like too scared by or shocked by the surprise or whatever. And like maybe the next reunion we just keep it like really exclusive and it's like just us and nobody else but just us and nobody else.
There's also the 24-hour WhatsApp notice.
Sure. Yeah.
This whole time, as
this-
the cousins have been gabbing, I think Myto had playfully like grabbed this sand dollar from Gabriel's hand and is like kind of holding it up to the sunset. And
Oh.
you just see Myto just like, this is actually symbolic, and I'm usually not a symbolic type of person, but I mean, sand dollars, before they get kind of ripped away from their family, they actually are very social creatures. They actually like to hang out in groups, kind of like us. They have really cool hair, and looks over at Tom. Well, by cool hair, I kind of mean they use their hair to eat. So that's kind of cool. And their exoskeletons are really strong, and like gaze over at Gabriel, and it's used to protect. And the flower pattern, and looks over at Carmen. It's a beautiful mixture between liquid and gas as they're forming, and it creates this beautiful pattern. And I don't know, I know it's kind of cheesy or whatever, but in their lifespans, they just kind of live to be social, and then once they move on, they leave something beautiful behind. Kind of like this.
Yeah.
And then you see Myto just throw this sand dollar. Well, sorry. We can find you another one. It's just that a lot of sea creatures actually,
No, it's
use
okay.
this.
It's okay. I totally do not keep a tiny little box collection of
Oh.
whatever Tom gives me. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
And
Hey,
you
some-
see
some-
Myto just drop on all fours and start like trying to
No.
search for something.
I think sometimes it's like it was beautiful in the moment and like we had the moment and like the sand
We had
dollar
the moment.
was beautiful for the moment and now the moment's gone. So I think
And you see Myto kind of come up out of the water, and like one hand has a sea urchin and the other has a sea star. Another kind of funny haha. These are cousins to the sand dollar that I just threw into the ocean, and like holds one out to Tom and one holds one out to Gabriel.
Those are alive. Those should go back in the water, I think.
You're
Yeah.
right. And then you just
I
see
think-
like Myto just plop them back in.
Carmen comes up to Myto. It's like, why don't you come on back?
Okay,
And we can
yeah.
we can just hang out together.
Let's take that picture. Let's take that
Oh,
picture.
Yes. Selfie.
Yeah. Let's take the selfie. Carmen takes her phone out to take a selfie. Like, and it is, of course, The sun is on us. So we're in that like perfect golden
Golden, yeah.
twilight, like looking stunning. She takes many angles of photos. She takes a boomerang to send to our parents, like family
A
group chat.
boomerang?
A
Yep.
boomerang.
Because she knows that the parents are going to want to see some kind of video, and that's like the fastest way to do that. So she takes a boomerang, and also takes a couple of additional like action shots of everyone looking like really hot at the beach, just to send them later, so that in case they wanted to post it on their socials.
And the flashes of the camera cease, and the laughter ceases, and the sun begins to set. In the first silence you've all had, the four of you sitting together in what seems like too long, as the sun sets in front of you, what's Carmen thinking about?
Carmen is feeling relief that not every injustice or perceived injustice needs to be, she doesn't have to own that anymore. And I think the release of finding the necessity to like be self-righteous has kind of left, and I think she's just feeling really, really grateful to have been able to find true connection with these other people, and knowing that when she goes back home, she'll have this little crew, a family, and that means something to her.
Myto, what are you thinking about?
I think Myto has a moment of already thinking about what the next step is. You see flashes back to their laboratory, this solar punk kind of tech mixed with light, and now there's water, and they're thinking about overlaying the schematics that they had just met with Ariel, and a wave like crashes into their shin, and they kind of get knocked out, and they just see their three cousins with this beautiful sunset going in front of them. And before this journey beneath, everything has been so siloed, and how their vision of family is mostly just taking care of each other. And in the past however long, 2 days, which seems like an eternity, they've realized that like family is way more complicated than any sort of theory or science or dissertation that they could write. It's way more melodic and touchy-feely and dynamic than anything that they could perceive in their room alone. And they take a moment to realize that they don't know everything, and that's okay, and that just because they don't know things doesn't mean that they're not worthy or that they can't figure it out, but it's okay to not feel that you're indebted to anyone, or on the flip side, feel like you can step into someone else's shoes and learn to love quickly, which is something they've never felt before.
What's going on in Gabriel's head?
I think we see Gabriel after we have taken the several photos, has instantly reverted to Big Brother energy, but in a very playful sense. He is either stood next to Carmen or Tamsyn, and just takes a couple steps back closer to the deeper end of the ocean and has splashed the both of you within the water. Has just playfully splashed the both of you, and has basically begun like teasing the like all of y'all, throwing water as we like run up the beach and have fun. And in his mind's eye, there's just the tightness of a held breath finally releasing whatever burdens, whatever tightness that he holds within his mind, his heart has loosened and unraveled. And I think there's a 100% of moment where Carmen very rightfully shoves Gabriel into the water.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
For messing with her hair. And as his head like tumbles into the water, he opens his eyes and sees tiny glimmer in the distance of the city that lays beneath. There's peace and tranquility, and instead of worrying, balancing every single feeling and thought that everyone around him could have about him or about the situation, he just feels. And he feels happy, he feels love. And as he pulls his head out of the water, there's a look he gives over to you, Tamsyn. And he feels like Gaps again. And you see that bright boyishness behind those weary eyes finally shine through.
And what's Tamsyn thinking?
I imagine this water fight is happening in slow motion. And as Gabriel picks his head up from under the water, I think Tom is bull rushing him and lifts him up on her shoulder like a sack of potatoes and just starts running in slow motion down the beach. And I think as Tom's hair falls out of its braids and just starts like free flowing in the wind, there almost feels like as if my powers, the actual powers that I received, are flowing out of my body as they are sort of finally wearing off. And Tom has this moment where the weight of Gabriel on her shoulder grows, but she doesn't falter. Because I think throughout this experience and this reunion, this coming together, Tom has found, literally and figuratively, an inner strength that she didn't know she had. And I think she trips on something, piece of driftwood, and Gabriel and Tom just like fall into the sand in a heap of limbs, laughing. I think similar breath that was being held this entire time is finally released as she looks up at the sky as the sun sets, and as Myto and Carmen come running over and we're all just laughing together. That feeling of camaraderie, of togetherness, only fuels Tamsyn's strength moving forward.
And this time, the camera doesn't pull back, but instead stays focused ever so lightly bobbing with the wind and the sun setting behind it on each of your faces. Carmen, the secret keeper, who kept her own wants and desires secret to herself, that who she had become was a veil of the child she hid behind pain. A young woman who had received the validation she so desperately craved through juggling masks that guarded her true feelings. Now, no longer seeking validation from those who can't see her worth, Carmen now stands with a smile ever so snarky like the one we see on Hiroshima, ready to tear down the very walls of heaven in order to demand justice for those hurt. Though electricity as we know it no longer flowing in her veins, her eyes now burn with the fire of a soul that has finally found its voice, and with it, the strength to right the wrongs of others. We see Myto, the keen eye, a young adult for whom everything in the world has a reason, a way to trace answers to life's questions through science and mathematics, but with a hesitantly open mind and an occasional need for ID verification. They now have found that love given out of obligation is not love, but rather can act as a constraint. Instead, they choose to love as freely as particles in motion. Myto has found true love and care, that they exist independently of external pressure and expectations. And like the fundamental force of nature, should flow both freely and naturally. Gabriel, the fallible protector, a man who held a burden no son deserves to bear, with the history of a child who bore it in silence as though he owed it to the world. Now, a solemn peace about him and a dropping of shoulders, as the burden is one that he has now allowed others to share in carrying. Knowing that he no longer needs to fit the roles that others have cast for him, there's a peace in the realization that his worth is not defined by responsibility, but rather in the strength of his willingness to allow others to offer him the same level of comfort he once burned himself to provide to others. And as the camera begins to shift away, we see at the bottom of the screen a familiar small sand dollar washing up to the shore at his feet. As the camera moves to Tamsyn, the inspiring believer, standing in the center of everyone, a stark contrast from the shadows she hid in before, only acting outside of the shadows when proper amounts of analysis and cost-benefit comparisons had been done. Her voice, in the beginning, was once a whisper of uncertainty, but now echoes on this beach with a confidence and purpose that she didn't have before. And this story has not been one of reconciliation for anyone, most notably Tamsyn. But for her, a new dawn rises despite the setting sun on the horizon, an opportunity to clear a path for herself and to use her strength to bring others out of the shadows they too had put themselves in or been placed into. And we see reflections of now the rising moon cast onto the ocean far beyond. Orúno, the bestest brother ever. The journey from newcomer to protector, ironically, between unfamiliar faces, uncomfortable interactions with a cat-dog pet experiment, and unknown scenery surrounding him. Orúno's path may have been labeled doomed by some, but to others it will mark the most profound transformation seen in the family's recent history. In his selflessness, Orúno has both found a family and a home, and a new calling to break the shackles of generational expectation, and with a firm belief that things not only should be different, but they can be different. And across each of these faces, laughter, tears drying, we see a physical manifestation, evidence, if you will, of the pain, of the stamina, of the self-love, and of the community needed to begin breaking trauma passed down from ancestor to grandparent to parent to child. The first step in a journey towards knowing ourselves both within the framework of biological family or found family. And for a moment, I, the storyteller for this game, turn to you. Those who have watched this journey together with us. Similarly to the lessons these 5 cousins have learned, know within yourselves it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be mad at those that came before you. We can carry their lessons, but you don't have to carry their burden. We can create new traditions without erasing the old ones. And when family hurts you, you get to decide how you heal. Will you answer the question Carmen faced? Will your anger anchor you in one place, or can you use it to fuel the strength needed to break the chains of expectations? Maybe you face what Myto did, the questions of will you give grace even when it's not earned? And will you stay true to yourself and acknowledge that love is not selfless if it is only given out of expectation? Will you answer Orúno's questions? That if you find yourself at a crossroads between healing your inner child and fighting those who should have protected that same child, will you leave that kid behind until the time feels right? Or will you show that kid the same love that they once yearned for and refocus your efforts to bring them peace? And the siblings' questions, Gabriel's. If you find yourself climbing out of the shadows of another family member, will you climb out of the shadow into what they want you to be? Or will you choose to claw your way out of it into who you are? And always last but not least, Tamsyn. The question she had to answer. Will you squeeze yourself into the perfect box just to make family and friends happy? Or will you discover the confidence in being true to yourself and break out of the stone box you are so often placed in? To my cast on and off screen, to my audience, you will never regret bringing light to someone who needs healing. The path to breaking generational trauma is one of the most difficult things to traverse and at times incredibly discouraging. But don't forget that oftentimes that someone who needs that light, who needs that kindness, is you. Never forget to show yourself that, because not only do you deserve it, but that little kid deserved it. I want to thank everyone who shared this journey with us. Thank you for the hours spent, as both our cast on and off screen have worked tirelessly to bring you a tale of family trauma passed through generations. As we have worked through difficult moments and difficult themes, it means the world for me and to them, especially for me, to have shared a part of my culture with you. Bring you a story inspired by immigration, of being a child of an immigrant, inspired by folklore, distrust, defiance, community, selflessness, and love. Again, this is not a story of reconciliation, but rather of breaking free and discovering who we are beneath the surface. And for the last time, I would like my cast to let you know where you can find them. And as always, we go backwards. I am so sorry, Nala.
Hi
start with you.
everyone, I'm fine. I'm normal. My name's Nala, or Jay. My pronouns are they, them. I am on Twitter at NalaWoo and everywhere else at NalaDraws. My eyes are leaking. I'm fine. I think this has been incredible. Thank you for having me. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I um being able to be on a cast of people with similar lived experiences to mine, it means the world to me. Um, I was adopted from southern China, and um, I don't know who my birth family is. I was left in a cardboard box in front of a middle school on this tiny fishing island off the southern coast. Um, and when I was 15, I went back. Um, on this like return journey on this big tour with a bunch of other adoptees, and this one moment stands out to me where we were driving over the bridge to get to the island I'm from, and it started raining. It had been a beautiful day prior to that, and all throughout my life rain has always been really special to me, and having that experience of coming home, whatever that means, and having it rain, it felt so surreal to me. And walking around knowing that there is probably people here who might be related to me or might know people who are related to me, and just not knowing was the weirdest, most surreal feeling I've ever experienced. It's something that I'm never going to forget. And I don't talk about it much, but this story means so much to me, so thank you. And I feel honored that I was able to share in it with you all. Um, anyway, where was I? I am an art director and illustrator. I work full time doing freelance in the tabletop RPG space. You can see my work on knowledgedraws.com. Um, I'm the art director at Hunters Entertainment right now. My first project, Kids and Capes. We had our Kickstarter wrap. You can probably, I think we're still taking late pledges, so if you want to tell a story about very focused on like the origin story of normal kids coming together and learning how to use their powers, then check out that game. Hire me to do art. I'll do your cover art. I do layout. I do branding and character art, covers, whatever. Um, uh, Besides art, I am a voice actor and sensitivity consultant, and a TTRPG actual play performer. Um, you can see me on, I think by the time this comes out, when are we airing again?
July 10th, it'll have come out.
Okay,
First episode.
amazing. Okay, you can cut this part. I'm gonna go back. By the time this comes out, I am going to be on this other show called Beach Episodes, which is basically a satire on D&D, where we are not, it's a typical D&D party, except every episode of this show is the beach episode. So the in between time, in between these big grand quests and adventures, our heroes retire to a small beach town called Solace, and we deal with the small town trials and tribulations of this tiny fucking town. So I'm on that show. I am playing a villain who was like yanked out of a book and plopped into the world. And My character is very hot. So check me out on that show. I know that's coming out by the time this airs. So you should go watch that. It will have been airing all month, I guess, depending on because this is the last episode. I don't know timing. Doesn't matter. You can see me in other things. That's who I am. I'm passing it to Val, my love, my older brother. Mwah, I love you. I'm gonna shut
And
up
I,
now.
I'll graciously take that. I do want to take a moment to thank Kris, to thank the team at Tabletop Tempest for putting this entire cast together, this table together, and the story together. It's been a great honor to be a part of this, to bring a story of love, of family, and the complicated mess with very few or no answers that it often provides because it's complicated. Gabriel has always been an ode to my own brother, and the ways that he has loved and cared for me over the years, and how selflessly that he does so. Gabriel's always been a love letter to him. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I'm Valiant Dorian. I use he him his pronouns. You can find me all on the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Auto Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I'm to set you on. And tonight I had the distinct pleasure for the last time of playing Gabriel Joe, who uses he they pronouns and is of the Scion playbook. You can if you like what I've done here, I am in a bunch of other projects. Please keep an eye on my socials for all of that because I'm not sure when all of them will come out, depending on timings. And you can find me on Saturdays on Transplanar RPG at 8 p.m. Eastern, where I play Sayer, the misbeloved twin brother of the Chosen One. We're currently on hiatus. I believe we'll still be on hiatus when this comes out. But keep an eye out for Arc 3 teasers and little snippets of news as we gear up for the release of Arc 3 of the Chaos Protocol. And a great time for you to catch up on all the previous episodes. On Mondays, you can find me on my own channel where I run a TTRPG talk show called Dicey Banner. I talk to all the makers and shakers within the tabletop space and have fun, meaningful conversations while we're at it. We've got some really, really cool guests coming up. I can't wait to share all of their knowledge and all their wisdom with all of you. And I'm also a game designer. If you love 80s and 90s grunge fighting games, if you want to play a narrative action RPG, you want to play The Beast Within. It is, as I said, an 80s and 90s grunge fighting game inspired by a very, very old Werebeast fighting game where you play werebeasts and toe the line between the humanity within yourself as well as your beast self within yourself. And with that, I'm going to pass introductions over to Danny.
Thank you. Hey y'all, my name is Danny. My pronouns are he, him, and I do want to echo a lot of the sentiments that both Nala and that Val has already said. But this game has been a wildly important part of just on the surface layer, something for me to look forward to in a time of chaos. As I'm diving beneath my own surface to see what the heck is going on with my own life, and I've never been able to tell as a long story. Myto is that little part of me that was my defense mechanism growing up as a child of two immigrants from Vietnam and Cambodia. It's been a journey of deconstructing assimilation in a white society and learning how family can be messy, and it was such a important story that I did try to stay away from my culture and my cousins because I didn't want to I didn't want to be associated with who I really am, and it took me a long time to kind of fight that, and Myto represented that kind of obsession where you throw yourself into hobbies or the next big thing or school or your career or whatever it is so that you don't have to face the tough stuff. And it was really poignant for me to have a space around a beautiful table that allowed me to play around with that, and that was really cool. But yes, I got to play Myto Bui. They, any pronouns, and they were the brains of the operation, and they yeah, they're that little part of you that wants to protect you so badly, but it's okay to let the brain go a little bit and maybe lead with emotion and heart sometimes, even when things get get sloppy. So, thank you so much. You can follow me all over the internet at Brutal Dan. That's BR00TALDAN. I'm on all the socials, just screaming about how cool my friends are in the tabletop and board gaming space. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, Digital Thickness with 2 C's, on my Substack, I should say, and follow for just little tips and tricks as I try to dissect this thing called digital marketing and social media trends, and a little bit of queer pop culture as well. So feel free to check that out. And I will pass it over to our lovely Claire Bear.
Oh my god, that's me. I'm Claire Bear. Oh god, you'd think being last I would have figured out like a thing to say, but my name is Claire. I have had such an amazing time playing Carmen Pereira for you all. This is my first ever actual play, so like thanks to everyone for being so generous with me and letting me share this table with you. It's been truly an amazing experience. I look forward to it every Wednesday. This actual play and this character came at a time of my life where like I was having a crazy year. It was unpacking all my own family nonsense. And so this kind of was kismet in so many ways to be able to play a character who rebuilt herself and as a result of that, so this was just a really fun experience. And I just want to thank Kris and everyone for putting this together because this has truly been a blast. You can find me at Claire_witchbaby on Twitch and everywhere else. And I guess if you are like doing actual plays and you like want a someone, I'm a someone. So consider hiring me. That's it. Kris, go.
And I am Kris, aka D&D Imposter. Getting through that end was the first time I've been able to do it without crying in the last 2 days.
You did so good. It
proud
was
of
so
myself.
beautiful. I burst into tears.
A huge thank you to my players here, and also Orúno who will watch this later. Victor who will watch this later. I think we were all going through it when we started. I grew up in a family that my father's from Brazil and very assimilated to the US, and so the last bit of my adult life has been getting back in touch with my Brazilian roots. And so this not only was this series a love letter to my family, but this, saying it at the end, this show has actually been dedicated to my father, who, oh, now I'm gonna try not to cry. My father, who lost both of his parents before he was 18, and he never really had a childhood. This was my love letter of opportunity and family showing up for you when you need it, and my father's name is William. So for all the love that you four and Victor and the audience have shared in allowing this little boy in an actual play to have the childhood of his dreams, thank you. We know how hard it is to get we know how hard it is to get immigrant parents into therapy, and at the beginning of this game I started pushing for him to do it, and as of today he finished his 5th session therapy.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So a huge thank you to all of you. I am D&D Imposter on socials. I make memes. But this story, if this was the last thing I did in the TTRPG community, I could not have been more grateful that it was with you guys on and off camera, that it was with you, the audience, and that it was for the little kids in us who probably needed a lot of that growing up. So from me and all the players here and the cast off screen, thank you. We'll see you guys around.